Me and the people I usually record with, we constantly ask ourselves why people actually listen because it's such a joke. It's actually such a joke, but no matter, shy.
Podcast, honestly, like where nothing is not too deep, like
Yeah, well, that's how it is. You get what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how it should be. Like someone messaged me a couple of days ago and they were like thinking about starting a podcast and they were like, oh, they want advice on how to like stay on topic. I was like, my dear, you're asking the wrong person. I said, you're asking the wrong person. I have no clue, no clue about staying on topic. Staying on topic, we don't do it here, not gonna lie.
No.
We do not do it. It's all good, Sha. All right, welcome to the dish. Today we have a very special guest, and I will introduce you shortly. But first, we're going to get into the appetizer. And for today's episode, it is: would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed all the time?
Overdressed.
Overdressed.
I think I'm already overdressed. Like I already have.
You have the tendency.
I have the tendency to kind of always be overdressed wherever I go. So like I think I'm already on that. I would rather be overdressed because I think for me it's very underwhelming if I go to somewhere and then I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't quite. I'd rather be over hacking it than under hacking it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough, honestly.
Yeah.
I think a respectful answer. For me, it's just that I don't like stress. You guys, like, I just don't like stress. Like, honestly, if I could go everywhere, like, just without stressing, like, dressy, you get what I mean? Like, I honestly would do this, but, like, it won't be allowed. But yeah, I think for me, it will be underdressed. I just think, because, like, because, like, overdressed, that means if I'm going, like, grocery shopping, I'll pull up in a suit. Like, what? People will be like, is this guy
but
alright? Even I'll be uncomfortable. I'll be like...
Yeah, no, I think it's a personality thing. Like, me, I like dressing up. So, like, me, going to a grocery store and looking like maybe I'll just come back from a party, like, to me, it's not
Fair enough.
Like, I think it's also a personality thing.
True.
Yeah.
I feel that. That's a fair point. Because some people actually would embrace such things. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, like, I want to look good, like, all the time. It's fair points. For me, I think underdressed would be my preference. Okay. No,
I think for boys, generally, underdressed.
True, Sha. Like, I don't know. Actually, I know a few that like to ask, even including my dad, by the way. My dad is a very, like, my dad likes to dress kind of vibe, you know what I mean? So, like, but I think, most males, like, what's the hell, they don't send, you know?
Yeah.
If they go everywhere in hoodies and tracks, like, they'll prefer that kind of vibe. But yeah, I know a few, Sha. With my dad. So one of my friends has a podcast regular, Fiade as well. Fiade generally is very, like, he's very, like, I don't want to say conscious of the way he dresses because that's, like, that makes it sound almost, like, negative. But he's very into his fashion, basically. So he's always on it. Always on it. All right. Before we continue, remember to check us out on Insta at The Dish with TBO. We have lots of Insta exclusive content on there when I remember to post, Sha. So be sure to head over and engage with us there. And also be sure to give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Or if you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, now to introducing our guest for today. Today we have a very, very special guest, as you can see. A true Africa enthusiast. That's always the reaction I try to get when I'm introducing my guests. I always make them blush. But a true Africa enthusiast, a passion for wellness, nutrition, and general well-being. I feel like wellness and well-being, that's like, they're the same thing, I mean. But anyway.
Kind of.
Wellness, nutrition, and general well-being. Today we have Ore Okubajo. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, on the dish.
Thank you. Very, very lovely to have you on. All right, so yeah, we're going to get straight into things. I mean, do you want to, like, introduce yourself, introduce when you
Yeah,
do stuff like
sure.
that.
I mean, I feel like introductions are very weird and awkward for me, so I don't
Mm,
know where to
I
start.
hear
But my name is Ore. That's how I usually start.
that.
My name is Ore. Yeah, I think TBO kind of you did a really good job, like wrapping up in summary what I'm about.
Stop. Stop it.
Age-wise, could you say my age? I'm 22 years. I
Mm.
turned 22 this year.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, summary. That's really it. That's the best. Alright, who I am. Yeah,
Cool. So you run Didara,
I do.
which has like different like what's the English now? Different subsections
Yeah,
almost. So
subsection.
there's
Yeah,
Didara Wellness and Nutrition. There's
yeah,
Didara Outreach. I also
yeah,
see you're about to launch Didara Beauty, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah. So what are the like? What do each of them basically like entail? Kind of like.
Okay. So I would say that firstly, the fact that you're able to understand what that is, like the subsections, is very like to me is a testimony in itself because when God was when God was doing me revelation about it, I was like, bro, who is going to understand? I was like, God, how are we? I was like, okay, you know what? We said we should
Mm,
execute, so we'll execute. But
mm,
essentially, Didara is, like you said, it's like the general thing.
mhm,
And then there's Didara Wellness and Nutrition and Didara Outreach and Didara Beauty. They're all the same thing in that we
mm,
promote organic living the African way. But Wellness and Nutrition more just focuses on food. Outreach focuses on giving our expertise to non-privileged societies, so
mm,
providing wellness and nutrition services and products to non-privileged societies. And our focus right now is children, so
mm,
going into different communities and focusing on children. And then Didara Beauty is organic living in beauty products. So it's a personal care line that is specifically for black skin. So we are
mm,
formulated specifically for black skin, but also using Afro organic resources ingredients. So ingredients that and resources and everything basically that is from Africa. So down to our packaging, down to our labeling, down to everything. It is all from
mm.
Africa, Nigeria. Specifically
Word.
Nigeria now, but
Yeah.
very soon broadly, yeah. Yeah,
Amen,
basically
amen.
yeah, that's what it's about.
I hear that honestly because I think it's astonishing how so obviously I think in recent years there have been considerable like leaps and bounds for with that sort of making things for black women, making things for black skin, stuff like that. And it always used to shock. Like whenever I used to see stuff, it always used to shock me. I was like, "This didn't exist before." I was like, "Question mark?" So like, what were you all doing before these things came around? Like, I don't understand. So if you just like bought a product, like you wouldn't like before. Have you ever like bought a product not knowing whether it was actually going to work for your skin?
Yes. The thing is
Oh,
that I didn't even know that it was possible that like a product could not work for my skin, if that makes sense.
mm,
I
I
think
feel
that
that.
like generally speaking, a lot of products that are being made right now, not that they are not made for African skin, but they are predominantly made for non-African skin.
Mm,
So it's like even though they work on us, the effectiveness wouldn't be as effective as if they worked on another person's skin to or
mm.
whatever, skin complexion, whatever. So I think I didn't even know that it was possible that I didn't know honestly. Like
I honestly feel that though,
yeah,
because like I guess you just look at it, just like. You're not
it's not
skincare.
as if
skincare, that's skincare. You get.
you
I just
understand.
be thinking, yeah.
And also
I
I
remember
think
when, yeah, no,
no,
go on.
okay, I think marketing is also a big
Mm,
thing when it comes to like products because they can bring a black person, show it on a black person's skin, but then there's a lot that plays a factor. Like for instance,
mm,
my skin now being in Nigeria is different from how your skin would be being abroad as in a diaspora because there's stuff like weather
right.
taken into
Mm,
consideration. There's climate change. There's climate
yeah.
change. Right? There's like a
Mm,
bunch of other things. So the way, even though we are both black, the way a product will work on your skin as a diaspora is different from the way it work on my skin because the weather and like our surroundings are different. Do you understand? So like
Right.
the fact that there was no Africa-made products for Africans living in Africa to me was like a question mark because how was supposed to, do you understand? Like how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because no, honestly, because I remember, when I was younger, I remember my sisters, they used to use all sorts of things, Chad. I mean, but they very rarely, actually, I don't know about very rarely, but I remember them, they used to make like mixtures with like egg, like honey, or like coffee, stuff like that. I remember just looking at them, like, what are you guys doing? What exactly is going on? But yeah, they would like mix all sorts of things together. They would use stuff like that. There were all these like natural, like no, not remedies, but natural like mixtures and stuff that they were like very into, that sort of thing. So I guess with the like organic aspect of what you guys are like trying to do, how much of it is inspired by just like, I feel like actually, what am I trying to say? I feel like from what I know, right, even like just talking to my grandmother when, for example, I get sick or something like that, back when I was much younger, I feel like for where we're from, we're very like connected to, especially like the older generations, obviously, maybe not the younger so much, but we're very connected to like the power of things that are organic. Like my grandma will be like, "Oh, I'll make you like honey and ginger," something like that. And I promise you, like, you will get better. Yeah, exactly, all of that. You get what I mean? So like, how much of the organic side that you guys are trying to like push is inspired by just like heritage and stuff like that?
No, it is 100% inspired by heritage. I think that what we do is like, it's also promoting that our remedies actually work for us. Because I think as we have progressed as a country, as a nation, there's a part of us that wants to become more westernized, as in like giving back the things that our grandparents and people in the other generations and older generations have actually taught about, have actually like passed on to us. There's the need to want to forget that and then take on Western ways of doing things. But then it's like, how can Western ways of doing things work for people that do not live in those countries? We live here. God has provided everything for us here. There's like backtracks of things that have worked for them, as in like our generation. So why do we want to leave that and then come into this Western world? So what we are really trying to do is create like some sort of middle ground where it's like your grandmother's recipes actually can still work and you can make them in a way that like, not that they look westernized, but like it's essentially packaging.
Packaged,
they can be well packaged. They can actually work well for your skin. And I think also a part of what we do is also just taking a way that is supposed to look a certain way. Like the packaging is supposed to look like this or like that. Because there's a certain like, the product isn't as premium or it's not as luxury or it's not as like good if it doesn't look like this or if it doesn't look like that. Like, but we're trying to take out that general notion that is very, very false. Like definitely, marketing and everything is important, but like who defines what marketing is? Who defines it actually? It's at the end of the day, it's being defined by Western standards. But then it's like their definition of it doesn't have to be the definition of it. It's just how they, in terms of how things work for them. So we can also find how things work for us. I think the general consensus with Didara is let us be independent to what is actually in here. Like, let us focus on what this nation can actually provide for us, because really and truly, I really believe that the reason why God has given us everything we need is because it is really what we need as to survive here.
Facts.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I hear that, man. It's great. You mentioned like using materials that we actually have. It always used to astonish me. The things that we import in that country, it always
which is crazy.
It always shocks me.
I'm like, we have these things. Why are we rice? I don't know. Yet I do not understand why.
Oh man,
rice, because rice is so abundant in Africa. So many things, and honestly, like I think there's a lot, there's the government. Like, let's not even get into that. But like, there's a lot that has to do with why things are the way they are. There's the whole development side of it. There's like everything. But I think the first step is really just acknowledging that we do have things here. And like, when we acknowledge them, we can, okay, how do we work to actually be in a country that works for itself?
Absolutely, yeah. We should be the one exporting things.
Yeah.
We have way too much. For real. We're blessed as a nation, and yes, here we are. But you know what? It is what it is. God is on the throne for real. Because
God is on the throne for real.
For real. Because sometimes you just look at things and it's like, wow, like it's really weird.
Question marks in my head.
Yeah, for real. It's like, wow, that's interesting. Genuinely, I remember that rice one specifically. I was like, wow. And then I remember there was this like time where there was this whole like hysteria around. There was like this like fake rice that was on the market. It was like made from plastic or something, and people were like dying from eating like too much of it and stuff. And it was just like, bro, like, and then I think actually as a result of that, like we were forced to. At least I remember in my house, my mom was specifically at that time. She was like, yeah, we're gonna have to look for like local rice, because then that's the one that you can trust, right? Because we basically it forced us to actually like consume local rice a lot more. But it's weird that it took that. It's weird that it took us importing plastic rice to make us buy local rice more. It's weird, but nah. Nigeria is a funny place, honestly. I always tell people, there's nowhere else like Nigeria. I love it so much. I love it so much. And I guess just like it's weird because you say, oh, Nigeria has problems, but one thing my dad always says is that problems are opportunities, So honestly, that where the problems are or where the opportunities are. So I guess even like Didara Outreach, stuff like that, there are problems that need to be solved. But like, how are you guys basically using that and saying, well, but we're here to actually provide solutions to this problem?
Yeah, no, I love that. I literally say that to my team all the time. Like, I say to them, like, we are here because there is problems. Like, in every underdeveloped/developing society, don't run away because there is gaps, like a lot of gaps in the market to be filled. And Didara Outreach just came as a result of, like, noticing that wellness and nutrition the organic way, well, firstly, it was like, okay, this thing is a luxury thing. That's how a lot of people make it look like, oh, eating extremely healthy is a luxury. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because I grew up in a house where, like, my mom used to, like, we used to pluck these things from, my God, like, back, like moringa tree I grew up with a moringa tree in my house. So it wasn't like I was spending money buying all these things. It wasn't that. It was that we pluck moringa leaves from the tree, then we grind it to make moringa powder, and then we use it to drink tea. Like it wasn't like a big deal. Like all the soaps that I ever used growing up, my mom handmade them by herself. So it wasn't like we're spending lots of money buying these things. So I was like, when everybody was like organic living is a luxury, I was like, I definitely do not experience that sort of luxury for me. And I was thinking, okay, why do people actually look at it as a luxury? And I think the reason is Didara started when I was in the diaspora, when I was in the UK. So I think in that society, the way it is being pushed forward, it is a luxury for them. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, and I started to think within myself, why did I not think it was a luxury? And I said, okay, it's because of the environment I grew up in.
You grew up in, yeah.
It's Nigeria, we are so blessed with fresh things that organic living, healthy living, it like, to say it is a luxury in this country, you must be extremely like ignorant, because it is literally anywhere you go, you will find something fresh. Like you will find something fresh that you can cook and you can make. It comes with who we are. Yeah. But I also realized that the problem with Nigerians and our ability to see what we can do is also the way in which it has been pushed out to us. So like, although we have fresh things and we cook with fresh things, there's also a lack of knowledge about it. Very, very, very wide. There's just a lack of acknowledging that, look, we have things that can actually make our lives better. And so upon research, we were just like, okay, where can we actually provide knowledge the most? where can it actually impact the most? And it's like children, because they would grow up knowing the best things, and then they can also go back home and tell their parents, like, okay, oh mommy, some people came to my school today and they talked about this and they talked about that, and then it's like those little changes like that. It's like from when you plant, little drops of water make an ocean, essentially. So it's like that sort of mentality is what we're trying to, because we have them around us. It's just making use of them properly. I always say that a really good example is like the way we make plantain. We make it with a lot of oil, whereas you can just grill it. It's actually healthy.
It's healthier.
We already have the grilled alternative, which is boli. But like people would not take boli. People would always take. But if you actually take boli is actually way healthier for you than actually. So it's not like as if we don't have these things. It's just the acknowledgement of them and knowing how important they are. Like when you are being preached the importance of taking boli rather than taking fried plantain, like you understand it and appreciate it more. But yeah.
Honestly, I hear that. You know something that's crazy to me? I watched a video recently, and it was in Iceland, I believe it was, where basically Iceland has underground, they have a volcanic kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. They have a volcanic layer, so to speak, like under the ground, basically. And so, because the ground is so hot, they cook, like, on the ground. Like, I was like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah, exactly. So they get, like, a stone, they, like, heat it up, using nature, using the, like, because of the volcanic layer, there's water that's really hot as well. So they'll just get, like, a pot, they use the ground, use, like, a slab or something, and they basically... some of their communities actually just cook on the ground. And I was just watching this. I was like, there is no way that we cannot do this in Nigeria. There's actually zero reason. There is zero reason. We may not have a volcanic layer or whatever, but me, I've walked on that ground barefoot sometimes. And it's cold, It's hot, so I am certain when there's a will, there's a way. I am quite certain that we can work it out. We can figure it out. If someone woke up today and said, yes, I want to cook on the ground, I am certain that we can find a way. Honestly, I am so sure. I saw it and I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's what we're trying to do, like create that sort of awareness. Because imagine if they didn't know that in Iceland. Imagine if they were working in, like, not knowing that they could do that. And imagine how much they are saving, like the amount of things they are saving by just using that. Like you're basically cooking for free.
Exactly.
Whereas us, we have to, you have to buy car, buy this, buy that, buy gas. Oh my God, buy that.
Exactly.
So many things. And I think, basically that, like, creating the awareness of what we have could also stop us from spending so much on what we think we need, but we actually don't need.
We actually don't,
There's a lot of sustainable economic growth that comes out of knowing how like sustainable and like how important and beneficial the agricultural sector in general is in Nigeria.
Yeah. No, genuinely, it's crazy to me how sometimes I think. So I have a confession to make. I'm a bit of a history buff, right? I don't know why I say a confession. Yeah, but I love history. Genuinely, it was always my favorite subject in school. Like I love reading about history. I love so one thing I've always been very, very interested in, especially because now we have very few reliable like account of what it was actually like. Especially in Nigeria before pre-colonial Nigeria, basically. I guess it technically was in Nigeria, but pre-colonial, like West Africa, basically, or just pre-colonial Africa, generally speaking. We don't have much reliable account of what it was actually like. And something I'm always like, it would be really, really interesting to me to go back and see how it was, see how they functioned, see how they lived, basically. Because I feel like a lot of the things, like you've mentioned rightly, a lot of the things that we've taken on as just our way of living, they were never actually us. They were taught to us by people that lived in completely different conditions to us. It was always crazy to me. In secondary school, for example, I always used to, like, I couldn't fathom why I had to wear a blazer.
I know.
Like,
I knew that was going to
I couldn't couldn't fathom it. I was like, why?
Why am I
like, bro. Genuinely, I couldn't fathom it. I was like, yo, there's zero need for this. There's zero need for this. And then oh yeah, assembly, you have to wear this. I'm like, bro, it's hot. Stop. It's hot. Like, bro. You know, so things like that. It's genuinely weird to me. I just I'm just very, very curious. I understand that there's some things, you know, with like innovation, technology. Yes, I understand improving efficiency. Yes, I get that. But there are other things which I'm just very curious. I'm like, okay, so how did we go about this before the white man came to our continent? You know, I'm very, very curious.
I think like in my own personal brand, that is what I'm about to like. I really want to get into going to places and like figuring out like the missing gaps that wasn't passed on to us. I always ask that question a lot. And I think the easiest way right now, honestly, is to ask our parents. So like for me, I asked my mom because I was like, because my mom is also like a health freak. Like I everything I know, I got from her. So I sat down with her, I was like, where did that actually come from? Like, this thing it's obvious that it's in our blood, some way, somehow. So, like, where did they come from? She said, oh, her grandma, who's my great-grandmother from her side, was, like, also a health freak. And she used to do, like, really healthy. Like, she used to make, like, very healthy, like, sweets for them. And then her own great-grandfather, who is my great-great-grandfather, was a herbalist. But not like not juju.
Okay, fair enough.
Like what's herbs to use to cure people.
Right.
So I was like, this makes so much sense why I'm so passionate about this thing. And I think like when you also get to know your own, I always say like everything starts from our home. You cannot want to know the general Nigeria if you don't know your own first. So like get to know yours first. Then when you get to know yours, then you can decide to like, okay, spread your tentacles. But I genuinely think that question is yet to be answered about like, okay, what happened? Like, where's the gap? Yeah. And I'm on a personal vendetta to actually like
want to answer it.
Yeah, one thing I really, really want to do is like have some sort of documentary like show thingy about like going to like different places in Nigeria and eventually different places in Africa and just like asking so many people questions because there are people that that's true. There are people nobody has just taken it upon themselves to go and ask the questions that need to be asked. Because I also think that again, the government have not really done a good job with like keeping track of historical things that have happened. I think that's
honestly.
That's where for us it's a bit sad because in a country like the UK, they've done a really good job at like keeping stuff. They've done a really good job at like actually educating. So like for them, they don't have to go searching for it. So as for us, we sadly have to. But I think I think the more like we go in search for it and like we actually put it out there, like that's the thing. Because I do think that there are some people who go searching for it and they find it, but like they don't make it publicly known that look, I found this thing. Do you understand? But hopefully one day, fingers crossed, I have some sort of documentary that me traveling across Nigeria, traveling across Africa, and just like asking questions and finding solutions because I think it's important to move forward. Yeah.
It is, right? No, honestly, I genuinely really agree. I just think it's weird, like because even with the point we made before, right, of like there being minimal accurate accounts of how it actually was, before pre-colonial or whatever. It's weird because if you look for example, British accounts of what they found when they came, you will find. If you look, for example, Dutch accounts of what they found when they went to South Africa, you'll probably find. You go what I mean? But it's very, very weird that we're letting other people like tell our own story. Like that's very weird to me.
Oh, I said it. I made a post on my other because my the Instagram account I have now is new because the other one got like deleted for Instagram. Instagram. Anyway, moving on. But I posted it on my other Instagram account when I had it. I was like, why are we so pressed to travel around the world and like oh, go to the museums around the world. But then if somebody asks you questions about your own, where you're coming from, probably won't have much to say other than Lagos in December. To me, that's weird. No, to me, it is actually really, really gets me. No, genuinely. I used to be like, well, it was this year, like I came back. So I've been in Lagos for like a year, close to a year, and I realized that there's a lot I do not know. And I'm like, why am I wanting to travel? Do you know how many places we can travel to in this Nigeria alone? Let's not even go to Africa. Let's not even go to Africa. Nigeria. Why do you think for most Americans they have not gone outside America? Because they've not even traveled. They're not finished traveling within America. I will be yabbing them for it to be saying, look at you have not explored.
You haven't gone anywhere,
You ask them questions about America, they will answer you do you understand? Like they won't, but us, like, what's the point of going and traveling and meeting new people if you cannot really have conversations with them? Do you understand? Like for me, I went to university that I go to, it's very diverse. Like there's a lot of people there. And what makes your ability to connect with people from other countries is figuring out some sort of similarity that your country has with their country. But if you cannot even have the conversation about your country, how are you going to mix? Do you understand? Yeah. And I think that is the problem why when Nigerians go abroad, we do not mix with anybody else other than Nigerians, because we actually cannot discuss about our history to another person for it to now like make a connection and actually make a friendship out of that. Do you understand? So I think us too, like there's a lot of like us just not wanting to know. There's a lot of us like not wanting to give our country that accolades. Like we're so ready to like go to, where do people go to these days? I don't know, Italy or go to
Italy, France, all over Europe. Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Definitely go and explore, but do not forget where you are from, because you will lose your identity. And this is why we continue to become more westernized, because we are so eager to get out of Nigeria that we do not look within. Nigeria is a very beautiful, beautiful country. Like it is a very, very beautiful country. Our art, culture, our fashion, everything about this country is extremely beautiful. And if we just dig deep to actually find the beauty, because I also think there's a lot of people, this issue, I can talk about it. Because I'm so passionate about it. But I think, there's a lot of wanting to explore with outside without actually, I think that's why there's that lack of knowledge. Because I always say we can blame the government on so many things, but when are we going to start taking action? Who is the government? The government is us. So if we continue to create an environment where we're constantly blaming the other party, when we get to that point where we become the government, us too, we might as well be them. Do you understand? We'll find somebody else to do the way they have done somebody else to do it now. So,
I agree. I think, to be fair, there are considerable like steps being taken in the right direction. I think, for example, with what you're doing with Didara, amazing. I think back to when terra culture first came about. I love terra culture so much. I love what they're doing. I love it's just every time I go to terra culture to watch a drama, I always really, really enjoy it. It's such a like celebration of culture, celebration of history, like everything they.
But you know that a lot of people still don't know terra culture. A lot of people still don't even like. I was talking to a friend recently. I was like telling her how like, oh, I'm so in love with theatre, and she was like, "There's theatre in Nigeria." I was like, "Have you watched?" I was like, theatre in Nigeria is like one of the best. Like it's
one of our it's amazing.
It is really. I was like, "Girl, go and."
It's amazing.
We should go on a theatre date so that you can understand. For real? Yeah, but people just don't know as well. I don't know if it's that people don't want to know. Or like, I don't know. I think also we're still in the beginning stages. Like there's still
we're still starting. Yeah. I think, to be fair to Nigeria, just like generally speaking, we'll come back to the theatre and culture thing. But I think, to be very fair to Nigeria, something I've seen a lot recently is how it's funny. We come to the UK, we come to the US or whatever. These places are hundreds of years old.
Yeah,
hundreds of years old. They've had time to figure their
yeah,
stuff out. You get what I mean? Like
yeah,
they've had their own problematic time. Even now, they're having problematic times again. But that's a conversation
yeah.
for another day. But
Another,
they've had years. They've
yeah,
had years to build up their institutions to make things work.
yeah,
Nigeria is only 60 something years old. You get what I
yeah,
mean?
that's
So
true. Yeah,
there is still like we're
yeah.
still very much in the
For me
the
to
beginning stage.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
there's
you're
hope
right.
yet.
You're right.
Yeah.
Funny
There
enough,
is
like
hope yet.
anytime my dad used to complain about Nigeria, that's the point I used to always bring up. Like, Daddy,
Mm,
we're only 60 years old. Like, if
mm.
you're comparing us to America and UK that are like hundreds, I don't even know how
Mm.
old the
Do you
UK is.
understand? Like, who knows how they are?
I don't even know how to do that. Yeah. And then once upon a time, they were also very underdeveloped. Like, I don't know,
Exactly.
Peaky Blinders.
Mm.
If you look at like the first seasons of Peaky Blinders, the Birmingham of then, ha! And the Birmingham of then, you will not even.
You recognize it.
I'm sure that
Mm.
some people on the show watches Peaky Blinders. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty
Mm.
sure it's Birmingham that it is based.
Mm.
But the Birmingham of then and the Birmingham of now, even the London of
Mm.
the
Yeah.
developed, yeah,
The problems
exactly.
they had, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the privilege once of when I was in year, I think when I was in year 5, we went on a school trip to Shropshire, which is a place near Manchester,
Mm,
and we had the privilege of going to like a historically preserved town,
mm,
which was basically a town that had not been like they didn't allow any renovations, anything since about
mm,
the 18th century, I think it was. And it was
yeah.
just crazy, like seeing how it was. See, they
Wow.
gave us like 18th century food, stuff like that. Yeah, no,
Wow.
it was a really special experience. I wish we had something like that for Nigeria. I
Mm,
really, really do. I really, really do. I wish I could experience something like that for Nigeria. I think to the point we were making before about just culture, theater, fashion stuff like. I think theater specifically. I had the privilege recently of going to see Lion King in West End
oh, okay.
with my sister. It was amazing. It was so good. It was like so colorful, so vibrant, all of that.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope, and I'm certain that with the way Nigerian theatre is going, it will happen. Because I
Yeah.
think even just about, I can't remember whether it was earlier this year or last year, that one of Bolanle Austin Peters like productions, they did a tour. They did like a London tour as well, I think. Either a London tour or a London performance. I don't know whether it was singular or it was multiple, but yeah,
Okay.
they did go and perform it elsewhere. But I really, really think with the way Nigerian theatre is going, it will become a thing where you will see Nigerian theatre on Broadway, you will see Nigerian theatre on West
Yeah.
End. Like
Yeah.
it will be out there and it will be
Yeah.
amazing, like for the
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah,
I
this is
really
it.
think so.
I'm speaking to the dish listeners right now. If you haven't watched Nigerian Theatre, like when you come back, if you are coming back in December, put it on. Like I know that like there are the parties and there are the concerts, there's all of that. And
Mm,
I agree. Like, if that is your cup of tea, like go and have fun. But please, you will actually not regret it. Watch a
facts.
Nigerian theatre show. Like you would not. It is one of the best. I remember the first time I watched it. It was years ago. Years, and I was like, what? This is a thing in this country.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Hmm.
It was so good. Like it is very well professionally done, honestly. And
Yeah.
honestly, guys, when you come back home, when next you're back in Nigeria, definitely
Yeah.
go
Go
and
do it.
yeah,
Yeah. See what
yeah,
productions are on and go see one. I promise you,
yeah.
you won't be disappointed.
You wouldn't.
I think even fashion as well. Recently, we had I can't remember whether it was the first Lagos Fashion Week.
I was
Was it the
there.
first?
I was at Lagos.
Yeah, I know you were. I was about to ask you, how was that?
It was amazing. I had so much fun. It was the production, everything, the fashion designers. It was really amazing. Like everything was done so well, like professionally well done. And there is like a serious emerging of, African fashion. Like it is crazy.
Mm,
But I was just really, proud of the professionalism that came with, the way it was being done. Um, yeah, all the designers were amazing. Like I had so much fun. Honestly, it was the best time, and it was just really nice,
imagine.
just seeing that play. play in Nigeria. Like people actually think like people came dressed up with bro. I was underdressed. I was
You were the underdressed too.
I was the people playing like, I remember there was this girl, I think it was still on my Instagram. I don't know if it's on my stories, but like this girl, she came like this really blue, she's dark. I know when dark people wear like blue or pink or colors like that.
Like bright colors. So I hear it really like pops, yeah.
It pops and she was just popping. I was like, oh my gosh, photographers. It was the whole creative scene. It was seeing photographers in their elements. It was seeing models in their elements, seeing designers in there. One thing I really wish I did do was like get to experience the backstage fiasco. But apparently it was a real fiasco. Like it was really a fiasco. But yeah, I had so much fun. It was just, it's a really, if you're a creative, because I'm a creative, it's a really good way to just like get creativity again. Like if you feel like you need inspiration again or whatnot, like just go. There was also design week. I didn't go for design week, but like I watched a YouTuber or somebody who went for design week, and bro, the furnitures that are there, like there's just so much emerging in the creative space. Like I'm very, very proud of people who haven't given up on Nigeria yet, because we are going
places.
Watch out.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I love it. Like, I think I remember seeing. I can't remember the day that I clocked. I saw it somewhere, probably either on Instagram or it popped up on my Google feed. I was like the first Lagos Fashion Week, and in my head, I was like, "How?" I was like, "How? How is it taking us this long to have a fashion week?" But then again, I was like, you know what? Like that aside, we should be proud. Yeah, that we finally got around to doing it. You know, it's amazing.
It was. I was so happy that I got to go and experience it, and the professionalism was amazing. Like, yeah, it was really, really good. I was really happy that I went.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go into the dessert of the episode now. And basically what we usually do for the dessert of the episode is we literally just write like a sentence or like sometimes a quote, sometimes an idea, something like that, and we just talk about it. And I think it's something that we've touched on in this episode somewhat extensively. But yeah, all I've written is redefining beauty. And I think, to be fair, it's not just redefining beauty, but I think also redefining customs, redefining lifestyle, redefining all of this, just redefining things. I think that has a lot to do with like what you're doing. What do you think?
Redefining beauty. I'll start with the original of redefining beauty, because I think that is what I'm trying to do with Didara Beauty. I think there is, especially when it comes to, Didara Beauty is a personal care line. So other than skincare, there's a lot that's going to come about it like further down the line. But we are starting with beauty, and the most important thing for me is to be as realistic as possible. I'm so sorry, guys. It is impossible to have really good skin 24/7 every single day of the year. Like, it is not possible. And healthy skin is not about the outward appearance. It's actually more about the inward appearance. So, like, somebody can have really good skin on the outside or appear to have really good skin on the outside. But if you do, like, an inside, like, scope, if you go to, like, remember the first time I did it was, like, I went to LMS and I had really good skin on the outside. But by the time they did, like, an inside scan of my skin, it showed that, like, my inner layers of my skin had, like, really, like, scars.
Oh, wow.
On my inner layers, like here, and here. As because of one brush I was using to scrub my face. And although it was working on the outside, it was working outside, but inside my face was actually
doing damage.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start new. And it was funny enough, my sister, when I've been doing Didara for like beauty for the whole year, for me and everything, she was like, all right, I just remember that, and she was like, you've really been on this journey for a long time, and it made me really emotional because, man, I really have. But saying that to say that, we want to redefine beauty in that way, that like your skin, even if your skin looks good, inside can be very bad. And even if your skin, is healthy on the inside, it can also appear to look bad on the outside, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then another thing, part of what we're doing is being very lifestyle inclusive. Skincare alone cannot make you have healthy skin. You have to exercise, like you have to eat healthy. You have to be healthy. It's not like, oh, you only have to do skincare and then no. And that is the way a lot of brands these days market. But
Sell themselves, yeah.
it is a very, very good way. I mean, to give you the sales that you want, but I'm trying to provide truth to everything that is being portrayed. So yeah, redefining beauty in that way, yes, that is definitely how I want to redefine beauty. And like you said, redefining culture, redefining everything in general, just like portraying the truth of mine is just about truth. Like let us be real, let us be realistic. Let us actually look for things that work outside of what is already there. Like let's not try to come among. Let's not try to look at the countries who are doing things for themselves. China, Japan, Russia. Like they could care less about what's going on in America and UK. And their systems are working for them. The only way to get there is to dig deep into ourselves and figure out ourselves and use that to then redefine how we want to move going forward.
Yeah. It's just about authenticity, isn't it? It's just, like being, like you said, being very truthful, about stuff. Yeah. And it shines through in everything. It really does. I have a friend who is so passionate about authentic, like, essentially authentic, not authentic standards per se, because I think the very implication of the standard, is somewhat infringement on authenticity, but just being authentic about the way things actually are generally. That's basically what she's really passionate about. She's very passionate about people being aware that your body isn't always going to look the way Instagram, portrays it to be, or, your skin, your whatever it may be, it's not always going to be there. Like, that's just how it is. That's, if you're actually being honest. And even things like, your mental health. Like, I think we've come a very, very long way with, being authentic about the way, people feel. But there are people out there who, even if you're like a creator who is known for being bubbly, known for being always happy, known for giving off the vibes in like your videos, or known for giving off the vibes on your podcast or stuff like that, it's okay, that sometimes that's just, as a creator myself, as I do YouTube, I also have a podcast. I am genuinely always very concerned when there is someone who just seems to constantly, they're just always happy in their stuff, always happy in their videos, always happy in their, because I'm just like, I don't know how realistic that is. You know what I mean? Like, it can't possibly be. You know what I mean? And there are some times in my stuff where sometimes there's a podcast episode or a YouTube video I do where I do it with my friends, and my friends are the ones that are really giving the vibes. And that's completely fine, because me, myself, that day, I may just not have the energy. Like, you know what I mean? I may just not have the energy or whatever. And it's more so than the video or the podcast episode is more so hinged on the connection I have with my friends, as opposed to the energy having to be there. You know what I mean? And that's completely fine. That's, it's a more sustainable way of doing things. I just think, creatives, anyone generally speaking, but I think especially creatives, I think authenticity is very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. 1,000% agree with you.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. Really a bit. No, honestly, such a pleasure to have you. And for listeners, thank you very much for listening. And see you next time.